Today's Sunshine Note is titled, "A Deliverer is Born." "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Exodus chapter 2, verse 8 through 10. Moses' story is a remarkably familiar one. God's people are steeped in slavery. They have been that way for many years. Once a proud people, the descendants of the patriarchs Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, have now been reduced to a people of forced labor, second-class citizens. God's people need to be saved from their slavery. So what does God do? He sends a deliverer. It's interesting how He chooses to do this. He sends a baby to be born in the middle of God's people. Of course, the Pharaoh is not interested in the Jews' need to have a leader born to save them. So he orders the death of all the Jewish male children. Of course, this does not work, because Moses is put in a basket and floated down the Nile to save his life. In the end, God delivers Moses to the very home of the enemy of God's people. Moses is brought up and trained in the courts of the most powerful nation on the earth, all before he goes out into the wilderness for 40 years to learn what it means to be a servant leader. Does any of this sound familiar? About 1,400 years later, we find God's people in a slavery again, this time to sin. God sends a savior in the form of a baby. A king gets upset by this news and tries to kill all the Jewish male children in one area of his kingdom. God saves that child by bringing him to Egypt. This child, named Jesus, spends 40 days in the wilderness before he begins his ministry to call his people out of the slavery of sin. Moses and Jesus share quite a beginning. That's one of the reasons Moses is one of the most pivotal figures in the Bible. His life will be poured out in the service of God and His people. How can God use you to serve Him and His people today? "Yes, go," she answered. So the girl went and got the baby's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this baby and nurse him for me, and I will pay you." So the woman took the baby and nursed him. When the child grew older, she took him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moses, saying, "I drew him out of the water." Exodus chapter 2, verse 8 through 10. May God bless you today.